Welcome to
Hi,
Rora.
Thanks for
welcome.
having us.
Thanks for
Thank you for joining me.
hosting.
It's a pleasure.
So, regarding to our second episode tomorrow, with our first ever guest, what are you guys feeling? What are the thoughts going through your mind? Let me start with you, Azeb.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm very excited and looking forward to hear so many things related to moving to new country and the challenge he faced. And I'm sure he's gonna be having he's gonna mention a lot of stuff that are really related to each of us individually. And yeah, I'm excited and looking forward to it.
Awesome. One of you want to continue since you both have salam?
Go ahead, Salu.
Salamti here. The feeling that I have at the moment, it's actually just excitement, to be honest. Just kind of starting our first official episodes, like besides the introduction that we had. I think it's gonna kind of break a lot of stigmas already. So yeah, it's exciting.
Awesome. Salu?
I'm really looking forward to learning from him, his experiences. It's always good to hear somebody that's been through it, or so I'm excited. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you all said the same thing I would say. Because the topic that we'll be discussing tomorrow is something that we all been through, or every human being that has moved from one country to another country, the challenges that we face. It's not just about, moving from Ethiopia to another place. It's just anybody that has moved to a different country who could relate to tomorrow's topic as well. So yeah, that is very exciting. And what can we expect from the upcoming Rora shows? What is your goal? What is our aim?
I'll start first. Salamti here again.
I love how Salam is introducing herself every single time she speaks.
I know.
No, it's just for our audience perspective, because they don't know who's talking. So it's just a little intro in a way. But overall, I think the expectation is we might get a lot of negativity as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if people are not perceptive to our ideas or our projects. I would understand, because it is a new opening, it's a new opening eye to the whole culture, and like we said at the beginning, it's kind of breaking the generational traditions that we've grown up in. But yeah, I think either way it's challenging for us. It is a big challenge.
Good point.
I mean, to me, I think I'm expecting it to be a learning process for us as well. It's not just us, going out and telling people our experiences and expecting them to learn something from it. It's more like, we're learning from other people as well. So I'm very excited to see that part of it. I'm looking forward to it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Azib?
As both of them has already mentioned it, but for me, and I'm very looking forward, and I also think that we are actually opening the road to be open, no matter what kind of lifestyle what kind of cultural lifestyle we've been having. The fact that we didn't actually open with all the problems, all of the openness in general, directing people to come.
That is something that I was about to say, but you took my point away, Azib. Yeah, I think that is something that we're gonna highlight, and we're all gonna learn and appreciate using this platform to open up and normalizing talking about certain things in life that happens, and it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to ask questions, um, because with our tradition, most of the things that we know, um, we're not supposed to ask questions. You're just supposed to say, "Xavier Meskan," thank God. Amlach Mesgan, these are the words that you're supposed to say. Nothing else. You shouldn't complain. If you complain, or if you say, anything that is negative, it is forbidden. They think that you just been spoiled or anything. So I think that stigma is what we're trying to change. As before we started Rora, I think all of us, when we were just having conversation, we'll be talking about something and we'll be like, oh my God, yes, and that is what pushed us to start, thinking about why don't we start doing, podcast or live show where we can discuss with everybody else, with not just us, with everyone that is interested in explaining and being open and learning from our journey, and we learn from their journey as well. So I think Rora is going to be something, a foundation, as Azib said. It's going to open the door not just for us, for a lot of people, where they can come in and learn and educate us as well at the same time.
I think it's also going to be a place where we kind of rely.
Sorry, Salam, can you speak up, please?
I also think it's going to be a place where we're going to realize certain problems or certain hardships that we go through. It's not just me that's going through this thing, There's also other people in similar situations that are dealing with it.
Yeah.
I think that part of it is going to give other people hope. It's not just me. There is a way, I'm not the only one struggling or with these problems.
Yeah. Lastly, but not I don't know how I'm gonna put this question. What motivated each one of you, including myself, to do this wholeheartedly? I know we've been putting so much effort and work behind the scenes to preparing Rora to launch and to put it to public. What has been your biggest motive behind it? Like, what is your biggest reason? Because I think each one of us has a purpose, a reason. For me, let me start from myself. I think it's been talking about my mental health, struggling with anxiety and a bit of depression here and there, not being able to admit it and say I'm struggling, not being able to say that, but finally coming to terms and having that open-mindedness and being aware of what it means to have those mental health issues. And it doesn't make me a less of a human being. Do you know what I mean? I think that is one of the biggest motives with Rora, to open up and being able to make everyone feel like it's okay. If you feel low sometimes, if you feel like you have big anxiety issue inside of you, it's okay and you can get through it. I think that is the biggest motive for me to get involved with Rora. What was it for you guys that made you feel like inside, yes, I want to do Rora?
That's firstly, I just want to say that's actually a really good question. Your answer is such a raw answer as well. Salam to hear again. But to be honest, my first motivation was like seeing a lot of youth or teenagers suffer with many of, just because of our cultural like difficulties, the fact that we're like second generations or immigrants, so that was like my biggest motivation. I don't want, like, for example, my little cousins or that are growing up right now struggling through the struggles that we've had or we've seen, so to be honest, like the young youth are my motivation, having a deeper perspective of whatever journey they're going through. It's a journey, but letting them know that there's someone there to like fall back on, someone there to guide you, is my biggest motivation.
Wow. Yep.
As you wanna go? Azir?
So, Lu, do you want to go until Azir gets back?
Okay. I think for me, it's just like a big realization of there was a certain point in my life where I felt like I was the only one, really depressed and stuff. So I didn't realize the closest people around me were going through the same thing that I was going through. So until I was open and lay out what I was going through, that's when I know, oh, she's going through the same thing as well. So how can we heal together, or how can I help her and how can she help me? And talking about it helped a lot. So that made me realize to have at least, even like with us, when we talk, it helps a lot. So I just wanted for somebody that's out there struggling to feel the same way. You know what? Oh, I'm going through this as well. How the hell did they go through it? How the hell did they come out of it? And I just want to share my experience. And other than that, my other reason is just to challenge myself. I'm always like a closed book. I'm not such an open person. So this is like a big challenge for my personality. Yeah.
Azir, are you back with us?
It says she's connected, but I don't know if she's still here.
Have we lost Azir?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear the question? I thought we lost you.
No, I'm here. Like, it's very interesting to that question. It takes me back so many things that are actually my motive behind, and I was also having a trouble picking which one is actually my motive. The thing is, like, as we like moving, what's happening personally as
you cutting out as if.
I was so looking forward to hearing Azib's side, but I think
I know.
Ever since she said she has so many, I'm like, which one?
Yeah.
Yes, welcome back, Azib.
Okay, you're back.
So the thing is, like, moving to a new country, which is our the next episode, which is very generalized, the motives that I'm related to, which means when you travel to different country, and be me traveling to different country, there was a problems that actually has not problems, but a challenge that has happened, and also I have seen so many people who suffered mentally. The problem, oh my god, I don't even know how to say this.
Take your time.
Take time.
The people who actually suffered mental health problems, there was also like labeling that, oh, that person is not good, like it was happening on purpose or something like that kind of thing, including myself. That was like a big thing. But me working with the people, since I moved to this place, to this country, I was been working with mostly the Aussies and stuff, and I have seen so many people who've been able to open up about their mental health. But when I see in my own community that actually they was labeling the people, oh, that person has happened this problem, and they was just calling them crazy or something. And I feel like our culture is very not educated, and there is a very gap in awareness, because when you actually see like, oh, that has with the white,
yeah.
Did we lose her again?
Hello, Azib. I think we've lost her.
Yeah.
I think I'm finished there. I finished.
No, we didn't hear like a whole portion of what you just said.
You said
I was thinking
you were at like Western, the difference between the Western culture and the
between the Habesha culture.
Habesha culture.
Yeah, there was a very big lack of information. It can be lack of information, lack of knowledge about the mental health that's happening, and the way how we address it. Like our community are very fast and very very active in judging, whereas the other peoples have the understanding in the ways there to recommend another solution, like just going to counseling and stuff. That actually motivates me. Oh yeah, we can create this awareness. At least we can open up. Yeah, that was the biggest motive.
Yeah, I think that the reason why I asked that question is I think all of us as an individual, we have a different motive when we wanted to do this program. Do you know what I mean? Even though we all had the same kind of vision, but we all separately as a different individual, we all had that different kind of motive, that different drive within us that made you push hard and, you know, do the research, do the reading, do whatever it is that we're doing, taking different tasks to make it happen. And I just wanted to know, we've never talked about this. This is actually first time asking this question and talking about what actually our motive is behind it. So I'm actually really, really happy and surprised that we all have different agenda and different reason why we actually do Rora. So that is what is going to make us individually different yet the same.
Yeah,
that's what's going to make Rora different and unique, I think.
Yeah. Even though we still have like different agendas or our own different reasons, we still have the same goal, this common goal that we share, the same common idea or the same common goal that we're trying to achieve together.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything else to say? Salamti?
I think everything has been mentioned. I honestly love the question that you asked. It just kind of took me in a different perspective or different part of like life, and it's a really good question because you kind of forget to ask yourself that often, you know.
Yeah. I think we all have to ask the question is, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Like, why? Do you know what I mean?
And I also add, I mean, it's one of the big reasons we're doing it is to break through the stigma when it comes to mental health and other, you know, mental health related issue within the Habesha community. There's always stigma. So our whole point is to break the cycle, break the stigma.
Yeah.
I just want to add something. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Like I just love the fact that we started, the fact that we were saying to break the generational cycle or the cultural cycle, and we all have that kind of connection, just to bring back to the purpose and like our main goal.
Yeah.
Like it turns out that everything that we just mentioned, our motive, is particularly challenging the culture, you know.
Yeah, that was actually what was gonna be. It's like we got prepared. It's like, you know, the bridge that you just laid out for me, Salamti. That's what I was actually gonna talk about, challenging the tradition. I was asked yesterday, what do you mean when you say challenging the tradition? So who wants to take the first one and answer me? What do we mean when we say challenging the tradition?
I'll go first. Like, we're not saying that all the traditions that we have as a Habish community is bad or negative. I guess it's the stigma. Like, just because you're mentally ill doesn't mean like you are Buddha or honest. Just the fact that you need therapy.
Just for those of you that don't speak Tigrinya, it means holy water.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
But yeah, it's not really like let's see, I just want to say, like, people have actually asked, like, oh, do you mean you hate the Habish culture or so on? No, I don't really hate the Habish culture. It's just certain things that we kind of can prevent from happening, and we let it slide. And when it happens, then we be like, oh, like you said at the beginning, is Gabriel, for Adi, like they always say, I hope it didn't happen more worse. This is okay. They compromise with it. And to be honest, in these difficult challenges, compromising doesn't really work, especially in mental health. I mean, we're gonna talk about other topics, but compromising does not work. You need to deal with the situation then and have a solution.
Yeah.
And just to add on what Salam said, we don't really we're not saying like the whole Habish culture is bad, but we need to admit that we have, just like every culture, we have the good side and we have the bad side. So we're trying to come together and break the cycle of the bad side. We all suffered growing up from the Habesha culture that is bad, the stigma, the gossip, all these things, So we wouldn't want the younger generation to go through the same things. So it's not us saying, this is bad or like fuck the tradition, like we love and respect the tradition. But when it comes to the bad ones, the ones that are really need to be changed, especially when we are living abroad, we really need to adopt the good culture of the Western countries as well.
Yep, Azif.
Just wanna, like, when we say, and I just want to appreciate the people who are very curious. This question, it look like controversial, but challenging, the word challenging, when we start the meaning of challenging, it's very far polite and very positive way. Instead of saying that I have a problem and you say I have a challenge, it's a very positive form of it. And when you say that I challenge you, like for example, if there are very traditions that's not very working in our community, if we challenge them, that means we are trying to taste out the better version of them. It's not means we're destroying them. So there are very in our community there are very the tradition that actually there is a tradition that's not very helpful for our community, even if it's part of us. So when we challenge that, it means we're trying out a better version of it. It doesn't mean we are destroying it. It means like that. So challenging the tradition, especially as we mention it, mostly our awareness in mental health and all that related, especially about openness, is very not good. It's not good. So when we challenge that kind of, we're gonna challenge it to be more good, openness, our awareness, the way how we actually interact, our social interaction, the way how, in those kind of things, we will be challenged. Looking forward for it.
Yeah, I think you all mentioned. I don't think I have anything to add. It took me a bit by surprise when I was asked yesterday, what do you mean challenging the tradition? I'm like, I want to challenge the tradition in a sense of, for example, I think one of the conversations that we had back in the days was about, for example, having a brother where they're allowed, to go do whatever they want, but being a girl, you're not supposed to do that because it's considered, it's a disrespect to the family. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think for me, I always challenge the tradition in a sense. I should be treated the same way my brother is being treated. Just because he is a boy doesn't mean that he's not going to make anything that is, that will bring disrespect or shame to the family. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, a girl can be more protective of the bringing shame or to the family more than the boys. That is just my way of thinking. For example, it's just an example. It's just a scenario. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Because it is one of the biggest topic that we know girls suffer. It's like, oh, you can't go to your friend's house for sleepover, or you can't do this, you can't wear this, you can't say this, you can't act this way. That is me challenging the tradition, explaining to me why I can't do that. Or it could mean me sitting with you, with my girl, sitting there and saying, oh my goodness, I feel so like, low today. I just feel like so unhappy. I feel depressed. And it's okay for me to sit there and tell you guys without feeling like, oh, what is wrong with you? How can you say that? You just telling that yourself without feeling me, without putting me down. Do you know what I mean? Because usually that it's not just with the Habesha community. I feel like it is done with the whole general African community. You're not supposed to talk about it. You're not supposed to address it. Those things, that is what we mean challenging the tradition. It's not that I am proud of who I am and where I come from. And I'm sure each and one of us here are proud of it. But at the same time, there are certain things that, in our society or in our community that happened, and I don't accept it, and I want to challenge it so it can be changed for the person. For example, for my daughter, I want her to grow up feeling like it's okay to talk about mental health. It's okay to do, like, not to be a doctor if she doesn't want to be a doctor, for example.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I'm just giving it as an example, but
yeah.
There are so many things that we can talk about when we say challenging the tradition. I think it's a good question. It got us to talk about it. It got me to think about it, because the way I saw it and the way how people would see it, it's going to be very, very, as Azib said, very controversial.
Yeah, and when we say challenging the tradition, we want people to think about, the Habesha culture, the Habesha tradition that they wish it wasn't there, like that they wish, oh, this is affecting me in a bad way, and I wish it was in our tradition. I wish we were not very judgmental, or like I wish we were accepting as much as the other communities are, because we're not.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, we really are quick to judge, and there's always a label. There's so many things that we can go down the list that are negative and that are affecting the Habeshas, especially even back home and even here abroad.
Yeah.
So I want them to think about it when we say challenging the tradition. I want, if they're listening, I want them to ask themselves.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to add something. Salamti here again. I honestly got another how can I say this? Another motivation. This question actually kind of it's a good way to reflect where we are. And I think, Nazi, the questions that you asked was perfect. So I just want to say that it's such a good way of reflecting where we are and where we're heading. But yeah, keep up the good work.
Yes, indeed. We have a minute and a half. Salam team, if you can just take us to our bit of about Rora and where to follow us and when our shows are. If you can just finalize and finish it, I'll give you 1 minute to end our program.
Yeah, sure. So like we said, stay tuned every Sunday at 9 p.m. to unpack I wouldn't say tough, but topics that we've already kind of discussed in this topic. Mostly we'll invite different guests to come, or we'll have us as a group, Rora members, Hawatei, to discuss topics about our Habesh community and breaking that cycle of generational traditions in many aspects of life. And so it's gonna be every second Sunday. Follow us on Instagram, Spotify. There's more social
medias to come.
Yeah, social. I lost the words there. Social medias to come. But yeah, stay tuned. It's gonna be a wonderful topic. Engaging as well. So yeah.
Yes. I think the only thing that you missed is, if anybody wants to take part with us in having a conversation with us, please do DM us or email us as well. Thank you for tuning in today. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.